Chapter 9. Embracing the Arts. Many people spend their evenings doing nothing, assuming that their only alternative is diving into literature, which may not interest them. This is a big mistake. While it's true that studying most things requires books, you wouldn't shy away from learning about bridge or sailing just because you're not a literature fan, right? It's important to distinguish between books on various subjects and literature itself. We'll talk about literature later, but for now, let's focus on other areas. If you've never read Meredith or aren't moved by debates about whether Stephen Phillips is a true poet, that's okay. It's not a crime to not love literature. It doesn't make you less intelligent. Literary critics might dismiss you if you don't understand Wordsworth's influence on Tennyson, but they wouldn't fare much better if asked to explain the influences behind Tchaikovsky's Pathetique Symphony. There are vast areas of knowledge outside of literature that are worth exploring. Take music, for example. With the Promenade concerts happening in August, you might attend, enjoy the music, and maybe even smoke a cigar while you're there. But what if you don't play an instrument or know much about music? That doesn't matter. Your love for music is evident in your attendance at these concerts, where the conductor carefully curates high-quality programs. Just because you can't play The Maiden's Prayer on the piano doesn't mean you can't learn about the orchestra you listen to each week. Right now, you might think of the orchestra as a blend of instruments creating a pleasant yet indistinct sound. But with some practice, you could start to identify the different instruments and their roles. For example, could you name the instruments that play the main theme in Beethoven's C minor symphony? Probably not. Yet you admire the piece, it moves you, and you've even discussed it with friends. But beyond knowing Beethoven composed it, what else can you say? If you took the time to read a book like Mr. Krehbiel's How to Listen to Music, which costs less than a night out, you'd approach your next concert with newfound excitement. You'd begin to see the orchestra as a finely tuned machine, with each instrument group playing a unique and crucial part. You'd start recognizing the differences between instruments, like the French horn and the English horn, and understand why a hautboy player earns more than a fiddler, even though the fiddle is harder to play. You'd fully engage with the concert, rather than just being there in a blissful, unknowing state. This could be the start of a real, structured understanding of music. You could focus on a specific type of music, like symphonies, or study a particular composer. After a year of dedicating 3 short evenings each week to this, along with attending concerts and studying programs, you genuinely know something about music, even if you still couldn't play The Maiden's Prayer on the piano. But I hate music, you might say. That's perfectly fine. The same principles apply to other arts. You could explore books like Mr. Clermont Witt's How to Look at Pictures, or Mr. Russell Sturgis's How to Judge Architecture, to start building a solid understanding of visual arts. I hate all the arts, you might say. That's okay too. Next, I'll address your case before we dive into literature.